And if the clock marks exactly 3:33 in the morning, and that's not a coincidence, what if this time is, in fact, the exact moment when the universe whispers its true purpose? Edgar Cayce, the greatest prophet of the unconscious ever recorded, made a powerful warning about this moment. For him, this time represents the intersection point between the visible and invisible worlds. And according to Cayce, there is a sign that receives this call in a much more intense and constant way: Scorpio. Yes, if you are Scorpion, or know someone who is, this message has not come to you by chance. None of this is random. We are talking about a spiritual seal, a divine call, an awakening that comes with chills, prophetic dreams and omens that most ignore, but that you, for some reason, feel stronger. Scorpion was marked with a rare, deep, almost dangerous energy, and that is exactly why the call happens at this sacred time. For at 3:33, God whispers the name of the chosen ones, those who carry pain, intensity, power of regeneration, those who were born not to follow, but to guide. Waking up at this moment may seem like a chance, but repeats. Have you noticed that? Have you ever felt the presence of something calling you? Have you woke up with the feeling that there was a message trying to get to you? Comment now if this has happened to you. Write, "I felt the call," and continue with me, because what you will hear then can turn the way you see your destination. Because this is not just a story about signs, it's about you. If you have already felt that, this silent shiver, this call at 3:33 that doesn't leave you alone, then you need to comment now. I felt the call. This is not just a comment. It is a spiritual seal, a confirmation that you are awake to something that most do not yet understand. And why does that matter? Because the more you recognize these signs, the more the invisible responds. You activate spiritual codes that were dormant. You access truths that only the chosen ones are allowed to listen. And this video, this message, this frequency, it didn't come to you by chance. If you are here now, it is because there is something inside you asking for answers. And that's just the beginning. Throughout this video, you will understand why Scorpio carries a weight that no other sign supports. You will discover the divine motive behind this sacred call at 3:33. And more than that, you will remember who you really are. So if you want to keep getting messages like this, deep, spiritual, revealing, enjoy this video now. This is not just a gesture, it is a sign for the spiritual algorithm of the universe. And subscribe, because the next signs we will reveal can speak directly to your soul. Sometimes all we need is a confirmation to know that we are not alone on this journey. And you are not. Your path is being guided, even when everything seems silent. Leave your comment, mark those who need to hear this, and get ready. Because what is about to be revealed goes far beyond astrology. It goes straight to what your soul already knows, but the world still doesn't understand. Have you ever wondered why your body awakens at exactly 3:33 a.m., even when there is no noise, no logical reason, no apparent stimulus? It is as if something beyond matter pulled you from inside, as if a silent presence was there, whispering something that his mind does not understand, but his soul recognizes. Edgar Cayce warned that this is not any time. He talked about the invisible portals, the connections between the plans, and said it is during this dawn window that the oldest, most intuitive, and most connected to the invisible souls are called to listen. What if this call is not a chance? What if this feeling of restlessness in the dark is actually the activation of a mission that has existed within you since before you were born? Especially if you are from the sign of Scorpio. Because Scorpio is not just intensity, not only mystery, it is a spiritual seal. It is a walking portal, a secret guardian that the world is not ready to hear. And precisely for this reason, this sign is constantly invoked at times where the world is quieter and the most active spiritual plane. Scorpion carries in essence the energy of regeneration, symbolic death, transformation. And that's why at 3:33 a.m. the universe calls, because this is the time where energy structures are more fragile and at the same time, more receptive. It is at this time that the messages are delivered, that the veils rise, that the invisible touches the visible. If you've been through this experience, you know it's not common. It's not any dream. It is a kind of lucidity that appears in the middle of sleep. The heart accelerates, thought shuffles, but at the same time there is a deep calm, as if you have been pulled for a dimension where time does not exist. Many Scorpions report that they feel inexplicable chills at this time, lightweight chest pressure, or sometimes hear their names being whispered, even being alone. Others say they see quick images, symbols, figures of light, and wake up with the certainty that something has been communicated, even if they do not clearly remember what. And maybe you are wondering, why with me? Why do I just? The answer may be on your own astral chart. Scorpio's sign is directly linked to the 8th house of the zodiac, which deals precisely from the hidden, death and rebirth, deep mysteries of the soul, spiritual, inheritance and invisible pacts. When you are born with this dominant energy, you carry a silent responsibility to access what is beyond, to guide, purify and transmute. And the universe knows that. That's why you call you when the world sleeps. So wake up at 3:33 a.m. is for you more than a simple sleep disorder. It is a sign, a touch, a reminder of what you came to do here. Edgar Cayce said that the Scorpions have, often unknowingly, an open bridge with the invisible kingdoms. And the more conscious they become from this bridge, the more they begin to realize that they are not alone, begin to recognize patterns, repetitions, signs, specific words that appear in conversations, numbers that appear in sequence, dreams that are confirmed days later. These are ways of the universe aligning your vibration with the mission that was delivered to your soul even before you embody this plane. But that requires listening, requires sensitivity, and especially, it requires courage. Because recognizing the call is easy, answering him is another story. It's easier to ignore, go back to sleep, pretend it was just impression. But Scorpio did not come into the world to choose the easy way. It came to transform, and every real transformation begins in the dark, in silence at dawn. At 3:33, many Scorpions report that after these awakening, they began to see everything more clearly, as if an invisible mist that covered the mind had dissipated. Some have changed their lives, made drastic decisions, began to study spirituality, mediumship, energy, past lives. Others simply rely on their intuition, because it is impossible to continue living in the same way after feeling the call. And even if the mind tries to explain, the soul already understood. And that's why you're here. You may not remember everything you dream, you may not understand everything you feel, but you are listening. And listening is the first step. So I want you to pay close attention to everything that is being revealed in this video. This may seem like just another content on signs, but it is not. This is an activation, a frequency, a memory, and you are involved in this. You have been brought here for a reason, maybe out of curiosity, perhaps on impulse, but deep down, this is not just about astrology. It is about purpose. It's about why you feel so much. Why do you present before you happen? Why don't you fit the common explanations? It's because you carry Scorpion codes, and they are awakening now. So I want you to prove to the universe you heard. I want you to comment now, with your words or a simple phrase, "I felt the call," or write, "I carry this energy." This may seem like any comment, but it's much more than that. It is a vibrational confirmation. It's like pressing an internal button that signals, "I'm ready." And if you really want to continue on this spiritual journey, subscribe now on the channel and enable notifications. Like this video so that more Scorpions wake up. Edgar Cayce was not just an ordinary man. He was known as the sleeping prophet, a living channel between the visible and the invisible, someone who accessed deep information while in a trance, as if crossed hidden portals of time and soul. And among so many prophecies that he left, there is a warning that few understood with proper attention, a warning directed especially to those born under the sign of Scorpio. For Cayce, Scorpio was not just another zodiac sign. It was one of the oldest soul archetypes, carrying in itself the code of collective transformation. He said that sleep is not only rest, but a sacred territory where the Scorpion soul goes into deep spiritual activity. It is at night, when the body rests, that the soul of this sign operates behind the scenes of the astral plane, often helping others, cleansing energy loads, transmuting pains that are not their own, but even without knowing, absorbs because your soul knows how to deal. Cayce revealed that at 3:33 a.m., a vibrational track opens, like a tear in the veil between the worlds. And that's right that the call happens. And what does that mean in practice? It means that when you, Scorpio, wakes up at this time, feeling your heart trigger, your breathing change, your mind in absolute silence and at the same time full of sensations, is not insomnia. It is call. It is spiritual activation. It is the touch of a hidden code being awakened in you. Cayce said that this call is not for everyone. Only those who have the ability to deal with pain, with the energetic weight of the collective, with silence and depth, can support this type of communication. And this is Scorpio, the sign that dives, which searches the shadows to find light, the sign that dies and is reborn 1,000 times in one existence. Have you realized that even in moments of chaos, when everything seems to crumble, something inside you remains firm? There is a kind of silent force that won't let you give up. Even if you cry, shout, begging for relief, it's because you came with this energy signature. Cayce claimed that Scorpions have the ability to carry dense energies and dissolve them over time. But for that, they need to be aware of who they are and what they were called to do. And that is why the awakening at 3:33 is so important. It's like a password, a reminder of the soul, a call to remember that you are not here by chance. You have been programmed with a mission that goes beyond human expectations. You are not just here to have an ordinary life. You are part of a spiritual link, a sacred piece on a much larger plane. And as much as the world tries to distract you, make you forget, get away from your essence, the call at 3:33 comes as an opposite force, which pulls you back to your axis. Cayce warned that the more someone ignores this call, the heavier life becomes. Because when you denied your spiritual nature, your soul begins to charge you, not with punishments, but with concerns. Nothing satisfies you. Nothing holds you. You feel you are always looking for something you don't know how to name. And that is why this message needs to reach you now. Because there is something that is being activated in you right now. It is not about understanding with the mind, it's about feeling. And feeling is the language that Scorpio speaks with mastery, not by words, but by signs, by atmospheres, by presence. Edgar Cayce also said that the Scorpions were marked with the energy of the phoenix, and whoever carries this seal also carries the responsibility not to remain in the shallow. Have you noticed how superficiality bothers you? How do empty conversations seem to empty your energy? How do noisy environments make you exhausted? This is not freshness. This is high spiritual sensitivity. You are like a radar, capturing frequencies that others don't even notice. And at 3:33 a.m., everything becomes clearer, more intense, more alive, because the spiritual plan knows that you are awake and then sends messages, sometimes through dreams, sometimes with symbols, sounds, or just sensations that are recorded in you like an echo, reverberating for days. Cayce said that when a Scorpio truly awakens, he becomes a healing channel, but not a conventional cure, a healing through the eyes, the right word, the silence it welcomes, the healing of the example, of regeneration. Therefore, those who were born with this archetype need to learn to listen, not the noise of the world, but what is behind them. When you hear the call at 3:33 a.m., the universe is saying, remember who you are, wake up, we're waiting. And the question is, are you ready to remember? Or rather, are you willing not to ignore the signs anymore? If you have felt it all inside you, if any part of yours is on fire now, even if your mind is trying to rationalize, it is a sign that this message was really for you. Therefore, he writes down here firmly, as a statement to the universe, I carry this mission, or just I felt the call. Share in the comments if you already woke up at 3:33 a.m., or if something invisible is trying to talk to you for some time. Scorpion is not just a sign on the map. It is a rare, old spiritual frequency, a symbol of hidden power and sacred regeneration. Who is born under this archetype is not here for an ordinary life. There is something deep in the Scorpio soul that challenges rational explanations. From an early age, whoever carries this seal already feels that there is something different throbbing inside themselves. It is not just emotional intensity. It is a silent call that accompanies each stage of life. It is as if the universe constantly whispering that there is something larger reserved. And this something bigger rarely comes in easy paths. The Scorpio soul is shaped through evidence, cuts, losses, re-innices. That is why it is said, Scorpio is a sacred wound, not in the sense of weakness, but in the sense of being a point of passage between worlds. Pain is not punishment. It is a tool. This is what breaks the bark so that the true internal brightness begins to reveal itself. And this pain does not always come from the outside world. It is often a silent restlessness, a longing for something that has not happened yet, a desire to dive where no one wants to go. Scorpio sees what others avoid, feels what others block, and so it carries what Cayce called the silent mission. While many are distracted on the surface, Scorpio operates in the depths. This does not mean continuous suffering. It means high sensitivity, a spiritual radar in tune with everything that vibrates behind the scenes of reality. And that's why so many Scorpions feel everything harder. Silence bothers them because it brings truths. The noise exhausts them because the perception is dirty. The Scorpion soul needs connection spaces, moments alone, energy refueling rituals. Otherwise, collapses emotionally, because the world demands too much, but it offers little to those who feel too much. This ancient soul recognizes patterns that have not been taught. He dreams of symbols that no one decipher. Realize when an energy enters the environment and changes everything. She doesn't explain, but knows. It does not justify, but intuit. And when you try to be normal, you feel that you are cheating, because it was not born to the normal, born to be a channel, healing channel, revelation channel, transmutation channel, and that has a cost. Scorpio carries a spiritual tension between the visible and the invisible. It is like a bridge between what is above and what is below, between the sky and the underworld. Therefore, it is often misunderstood, judged, isolated. But this loneliness is part of the process. It is in the absence of human noise that the Scorpion soul listens to the true voice that guides it. It is in unlawful pain that the portal opens. And that's exactly where the real force is born. This force does not scream. You don't have to impose yourself. She is felt. Scorpio has a magnetism that cannot be learned. It is a vibration that sets in the air, a presence that changes the atmosphere. Sometimes, even when it enters a place, the environment changes. People see each other, notice, feel, even if they don't understand. This is not charm, it is energy. Energy of an ancient soul, which has lived many lives, who has crossed portals, who has died, and was reborn internally so many times that he can no longer count. Therefore, everything that is superficial becomes unbearable over time. And that is also why the truth, as hard as it is, will always be preferred by Scorpion. The Scorpio soul does not want empty promises. She wants depth, wants to know what's behind, wants to reconnect with what was forgotten, with what was sealed spiritually. And when this soul finds the call, especially at night, especially at 3:33, when the world sleeps and the portals open, something inside it lights up, like an ancient embers that never went out totally. This is where the soul begins to remember. Do not remember with words, but with sensations, goosebumps, spontaneous images. They are memories of the spirit, fragments of a spiritual past that still echoes. Many Scorpions report that during these dawn they feel as if they are being observed, but in a way that does not scare, but protects, as if any family presence involved them, called them, summoned them to remember who they are. And that is what is happening to you now. This restlessness that grows as you listen to me, this desire to know more, to understand why everything is so intense, this feeling that there is a truth you always knew, but never said aloud. This is all part of its Scorpio essence. And the more you connect with her, the more you unlock the gifts that were delivered exclusively to your soul. The Aphia intuition. The coincidences increase, perception expands, and then you start to see the signs, repeated numbers, dreams that are confirmed, meetings that seem written. This is the confirmation that your energy is being recognized by the invisible forces. And when that happens, you can no longer go back to the old me, because you have already accessed another frequency. You have realized that it carries codes that have not been taught anywhere, but make sense within you. You have already felt that there is a reason for everything that lived, and that nothing was in vain. You already understood that your pain was the initiation ritual, that the moments of loneliness were the temple, that the silences were prayers you didn't know you did. That's why you feel different. Because you are different, you carry the signature of the Scorpion soul, and that, by itself, already say it all. If you have come here feeling that these words are not just being heard, but absorbed by your heart, so comment now. Say, "I carry the strength of my soul," or simply write, "My pain awakened me." Each comment is a point of light that comes on in this spiritual community. Each word is a confirmation link with the universe. And if this message found you, then maybe it's because your soul decided it was time to remember. Waking up at 3:33 may only seem a coincidence for those who have not yet learned to decode the signals of the invisible. But for those who already feel that there is something bigger at stake, this time repeats itself as a living, insistent code, as if the universe itself was knocking on the door of your conscience. This is not superstition, it is vibration. At 3:33 a.m., the veils are thinner, the defenses of the mind are relaxed, and the soul is more exposed, more accessible to what needs to be communicated. Scorpion, in particular, is sensitive to this type of frequency. And when this call starts to happen, the signs are not just about the clock. They appear in unexpected places, but always carry the same vibration. The touch of the invisible trying to arouse something inside you. The goosebumps before bed, for example, are one of the most common but also more ignored signs. You are about to surrender to sleep and suddenly, for no apparent reason, feel a cold wave through your spine. But instead of fear, comes a strange calm, a feeling that something is around, something that observes, that keeps, accompanies. This kind of sensation should not be discarded. For the Scorpio soul, it is a warning of spiritual presence. It can be your angel, your guide, your spiritual lineage, preparing you for communication that will happen while you sleep. Because sleep for Scorpion is not just rest. It is spiritual work. It is silent mission. It is when the soul takes off from the physical body to fulfill old pacts, access revelations, and often receive instructions on what to do on the physical plane. And that is why dreams become so symbolic. Dreaming of portals, for example, gates that open, tunnels, stairs, spirals, are not mere representations of the unconscious. They are spiritual translations of real passages between dimensions. Scorpio is easy to walk between worlds, even if you don't understand how it does it. And when this sign dreams of symbols, with eyes that watch, with mazes, with departing mirrors, or with clocks stopping in time, something is being revealed. Something is being activated, especially if these elements appear in sequence or repeat in more than one dream. Because then the message is no longer in the subtle field. She is knocking on her door, asking for recognition. And recognizing is the first step in understanding. Have you dreamed that you were falling but woke up before you hit the floor? Have you ever had the feeling that the dream was more real than the day itself? Have you noticed that upon waking, certain phrases echoed in your head as if they had been whispered by someone? These are the so-called spiritual that manifest themselves while your soul is active in the invisible plans. Scorpion has an ancient soul, and old souls remember, sometimes not clearly but with sensations, sometimes not with logic but with emotion. And each sign received in this altered state of consciousness is like a fragment of a larger message that needs to be mounted carefully. The broken mirror, for example, is one of the most powerful spiritual archetypes, mainly for those under Scorpio influence. When a mirror breaks without rational reason, it is as if a barrier between worlds had been broken. In many spiritual traditions, it is believed that the mirror is a passage between dimensions, and when it departs, it is a sign that something or someone tried to cross, or that his vibration is no longer compatible with that reflex. For Scorpio, this can mean two things. Either you are being prepared for a new level of spiritual perception, or you're being called upon to abandon an old version of yourself that no longer serves your purpose. And the interesting thing is that, at these times, the Scorpio soul already knows. Even if the mind tries to rationalize, the body feels, the heart press, the spirit recognizes. Another sign that many ignore, but which, in the case of Scorpio, is a direct message from the subtle plane, are the sudden changes of energy in environments. You enter a place and something weighs, or without explanation begins to feel dizziness, chills, and anguish that does not know how to name. In general, this is energy reading. Scorpion is a pure sensory receptor. It is as if your soul has antennas. And at night, mainly around 3:33 a.m., this sensitivity increases absurdly. Therefore, many Scorpions wake up scared, with a sense of presence, or with difficulty going back to sleep. But what seems discomfort is actually a call to listening. What bothers you sometimes is just the reflection of what you are still learning to decode, and maybe you are now realizing that everything you thought was too much in you, the intensity, the chills, the vivid dreams, the discomfort with places or people, it was never an exaggeration. It was spiritual language. It was part of your gift. And when you start to accept it, the signs become lighter. The sky does not speak of words, speaks of sensations. Speak in repeated ions, speak in symbols. And you, Scorpio or Scorpio, were born with the ability to understand all this with a clarity that other people do not have. Not because you are better, but because you were prepared. You have been called, and who is called can no longer pretend that they have not listened. If any of these things have happened to you, or if you feel that this energy is present in your life, increasingly constantly, write here in the comments, "I received the signal." Or, if you want to declare even deeper, write, "Heaven is talking to me." No matter which sentence you choose, the important thing is to leave a brand, a record, a spiritual seal in this space. Because when you comment, you manifest. When you write, you anchor. And when you anchor, you wake up. Ignoring the call from 3i33 is like closing your eyes while the truth is being revealed before you. It is like turning off a cosmic radio station that conveys exactly the message your soul came to seek. This time, so specific and so recurring, is not a simple brand on the clock. It is a vibrational code, a direct call from the spiritual plane to arouse, remember, listen. And when this call comes and you decide to ignore, whether out of fear, tiredness, for negation, because you think it's just a coincidence, something inside you begins to weigh. And it's not just an emotional weight, it is a kind of vibrational misalignment that manifests itself in various ways. Anxiety without reason, a feeling of empty even surrounded by everything, lack of meaning in the routine, difficulty connecting with people, and especially the pain of not knowing how to explain what is hurting. Scorpion that runs away from your gift becomes a congested energy field, because this sign was not made to repress but to transmute. And all that is not transformed within a Scorpio becomes anguish. What is not released crystallizes. Intuition begins to scream inside, but as it is not heard, it begins to manifest itself in the body, in the thoughts, in the dreams that disturb, in recurring nightmares, in the unexpected ruptures. Life seems to crash, as if something was wanting to happen, but something inside the person does not let it. Because when the spirit calls and the soul is silent, there is an imbalance. And in this imbalance, life begins to present small signs that it is time to realign. Have you ever felt that way? As if they were always on the verge of something, but not knowing what? Have you ever felt something is about to change, but this change never comes? Or what a part of you want to leave, but another part holds you? These are spiritual symptoms of resistance to the call. Scorpion cannot live in half. This sign was born to the totality, even if this totality is painful, because the pain, for Scorpion, is a portal, an activation mechanism, and when this pain is ignored or treated as weakness, the gift closes. The soul begins to resent, and this manifests itself as a loss of purpose that erodes from the inside out. Many people who do not understand this dynamic end up trying to anesthetize this call with distractions, vices, repetitive patterns of sabotage. But nothing works for a long time, because the call comes back. He always comes back. Sometimes subtly, sometimes violently, and every time you ignore, it hits harder, until one day, something happens that forces you to stop. A break, a loss, an existential crisis. Something that forces you to look inside, like who is forcibly pulled into darkness. And then, in this dive, you finally realize what you were trying to avoid was actually your own awakening. Cayce warned that spiritual gifts do not disappear, they just fall asleep. But when they are not activated, they weigh. And the Scorpion gift is one of the most sensitive to this weight, because this sign is the guardian of transformation. It is the one who was born to clean what is rotten, heal what was denied, to reveal what was hidden. But how to heal if you don't heal yourself? How to guide if you run away from your own route? How to transmute if you lock access to your pain? The universe does not require you to know everything, just that it is available. Who is willing to listen when he calls? And the 3:33 time is exactly this moment. The moment when the plans align to say with firmness and love, wake up, listen, it's time. You may even try to justify. You may even say that there is no time, that is just tiredness, that you can't handle it now. But your soul knows. She recognizes when she is being called. And if you don't listen now, new signs will come. And if you do not listen later, they will come more intense, not as punishment, but as a loving, insistent, and necessary reminder, because you have something to do, and that something doesn't fit the common mold of society. It is something that vibrates out of logic, beyond what is said, beyond what can be touched. It is spiritual, it is ancestral, it's cozy co. And if you are feeling all this now while listening to these words, maybe it's because part of you can no longer ignore. Maybe it's because you deep down, I always knew that this call was real, that this number was real. May this energy that visits you at night, that these chills that arise out of nowhere, that these dreams with strange symbols, all this is part of the process of returning to what you are, a spiritual being in a human body, a spirit in a rescue mission. And Scorpio, more than any other sign, feels it more depth, because the depth is your home. And the more you avoid diving, the more life pushes you inside. So now, right now, stop and feel. Close your eyes for a few seconds. Take a deep breath. Let all that you have been ignoring come out. And when you feel that it makes sense, register here in the comments. Declare to the universe, I stopped ignoring. Or simply write, I heard the call. These words are not just for me. They are for you. They are for your soul. They are to seal this moment. And when you write, something inside you moves. And when it moves, it all starts to change. Scorpion has never been dark, although the world insists on labeling it like that. Scorpio is portal. It is passage between worlds. It is the energy that confronts, yes, but not by destroying, but for cleaning. It is like the heavy rain that washes the earth and prepares the soil for something new. Many are afraid of this energy because it requires depth, requires truth, requires real transformation. Scorpio does not accept masks, does not tolerate superficiality. The Scorpio soul was born to see what is hidden, to touch what was abandoned, to welcome what the rest of the world tries to avoid. She walks firmly on land where others stumble, because it is not made of fear. It is made of renaissance, to cross internal fires and get off the other side with phoenix wings. This archetype carries with it the mark of those who have died 1,000 times and remain standing. And this death here is not literal. It is the death of illusions, attachment, ancient versions of oneself that no longer serve. Scorpion does not allow to stagnate. He feels the need to reinvent himself, to deconstruct, to break shells and to start over, even if no one understands, even if he gives, even if he has to do it alone. Therefore, many Scorpions are seen as reserved, enigmatic, even difficult. But this is just the surface. Behind the apparent coldness, there is an inner pulsating world, constantly boiling, a world that analyzes, present, intui, a world that does not stop feeling. Have you noticed how others trust you to confess your pains? How do you strangers open your heart as if you had something to pull them? This is because your energy carries the frequency of healing, but not the soft healing, but the one that transforms. That shows the truth, which cleans what is dirty, even when it requires confronting old shadows. And that's why you bother sometimes, because your presence is a mirror. She reveals what the other is trying to hide. And without realizing it, you activate in other reflection processes. You arouse truths where there is a lie. You instigate changes where there was stagnation. This is not defective, this is gift. Scorpio has the unique ability to cross the collective unconscious, to capture energies from the environment, to anticipate events, to access feelings that were not even said. It is as if your soul has multidimensional antennas. You feel something will happen, and it happens. You present someone as lying, and you feel you should change something in your life, and when it changes, everything fits. But this gift requires responsibility. You can't get away from it, because those who were born to illuminate what is dark need to learn to walk in the dark. You need to understand that darkness is not enemy. It is raw material of light. It is from the shadow that the contrast is born. It is in the deep silence of the night that the voice of the soul listens clearer. The phoenix is the sacred animal of Scorpion for a very specific reason. It burns, it becomes gray, but it is reborn. She doesn't fear the end, because she knows that the end is just the beginning with another name. And so is your life, a succession of intense, deep cycles full of loss and reunion, ruptures and healings, pain and wisdom. Nothing in you is shallow. Not even your pain is empty. Every tear of yours was once prayer. Each crisis was once a portal, and every rebirth you lived has made you even stronger, more sensitive, more conscious. That's why you don't bow easily. That's why you are resistant, but not cold, intense, but not impulsive, deep, but not dark. You are Phoenix. You are living alchemy. You are a transformation portal. And every time someone approaches you, something changes. Sometimes the person leaves because he is not ready. Other times she stays. But it's never the same again. Because you, without realizing it, awaken in others the need to look inside, to reinvent itself, to face what they always avoided. And this is your spiritual mission, being a channel of renaissance, not through speeches, but through your own journey. Your life speaks, your silence teaches, your pain purifies, your gaze crosses, and all this is part of the seal you carry, a seal that cannot be bought, learned, inherited. He is born with you. He pulsates in his blood. He burns in his chest. When you accept this call, you start to live more clearly. It begins to understand why I had to go through everything that went through, why has been tested so many times, why it seems to carry a more dense luggage than most. Because you were chosen not to repeat patterns, but to break them. You are not here to be a spectator. You came to be a change agent. And this change begins in you. It starts every time you look at your shadows and hug them. Every time you do not escape what you feel. Every time you choose to die for an old version and be born for a real one. If you are feeling that this Scorpion energy pulses into you, even if you have not been born with the sun in Scorpio, but it carries that strength in some part of your map, or if you live with someone like this, then write here in the comments, I am Phoenix. Or, if you want to reaffirm this power that vibrates in you, write, my soul transforms everything that plays. These words are not just beautiful phrases. They are energy confirmations. They are memory triggers of their spiritual mission. When you comment, you anchor. When you declare yourself, the universe listens. And when he listens, he responds. If something inside you has vibrated with everything that has been said so far, if your chest warmed, if your eyes were filled without explanation, if your soul recognized each other in each word, then understand, this is not just content. This is a spiritual call. It is a mirror placed in the face of its deepest essence, a reminder of something you already knew, but for a long time has been silenced by the demands of the world. You may not be able to explain clearly, but you are feeling. It is as if your energy has been touched, as if, finally, someone had put in words what you carried in silence. And that's exactly why you're here, because your soul decided to listen, decided to remember. He decided to align herself with what she really is. This moment now needs to be sealed, because when the spiritual manifests itself with such sharpness, we cannot just follow as if nothing had happened. The universe is waiting for your answer, and this answer can start with a simple gesture, but which vibrates hard on the subtle plane. When you comment, when you declare, you manifest energetically. You anchor, you confirm, I recognize myself. So if you felt this Scorpion force light inside you, if this message spoke straight to your soul, I want you to stop now for a few seconds and comment here, I carry this energy. Or if you prefer, say, I accept my essence. These words are more than a beautiful phrase. They are spiritual statements. They are like vibrational stamps that record your inner permission to be who you really are, without masks, without fear, no blockages. And if you felt the vibration of this video, if your intuition blinked like a lighthouse saying, yes, that's it, then enjoy this video now. This simple act also has an energy weight. It shows to the universe, and to the spiritual algorithm that manifests itself here, that you are ready, present, awake. With each like, the energy of this content reaches more people who also need to remember who they are. And this is part of your mission as well, awakening others. Transform by example. Canalize light where there was before silence. Scorpio transforms everything that plays. Even with a simple comment, a simple gesture, your presence here is sacred. Your click is symbolic. Your energy is being noted, recognized, and honored. Now take a deep breath, put your hand on your chest, and feel what is moving inside you. This movement is spiritual. It is like a soft wave that runs through your soul and reposition you toward your truth. It is as if the pieces are returning to the place. You are not alone. You are not lost. This is no coincidence. You have been guided here, and your spiritual journey is just beginning, because all that seemed confused gradually begins to make sense. All that was pain begins to reveal itself as a seed of strength, and all that was loss begins to show itself as liberation. And if you are ready to continue on this journey, if you want to further deepen your connection with the mysteries that the universe is revealing, then subscribe now on this channel. Activate notifications so as not to lose what comes next, because this spiritual series was created to guide you step by step on the way back to you. And next video, you will discover a new call, a new frequency, a new sacred time. Let's reveal what happens to the fish sign exactly at 4:44 a.m. And I already say, you will not believe what this number represents, nor what fish receives from the spiritual plane at this specific moment. If you know someone from fish, or if you feel that this energy also talks to some part of your map, then you already prepare. The next revelation will play even more subtle layers of the soul. But for now, keep this feeling. Let her vibrate on you. And if you haven't commented yet, this is your chance to seal this connection. Write, "I carry this energy," or "I accept my essence." Make this your anchor ritual, because when you position yourself spiritually, the whole universe reorganizes around you to lead you to your real purpose. And that, it has already started to happen. If you got here, it is because something inside you recognized the truth that was told. And it already says a lot about who you are. So, before you leave, do the following. You subscribe now on the channel, because this spiritual journey is just starting. And in the next videos, we will further deepen this connection with the mysteries of the invisible. And he comments down here now, "I went to the end, and something awakened in me." This phrase will show that you not only heard with your ears, but you felt with your soul. And that creates an energy seal between you and this journey that we are building together. Leave your like as well. This simple gesture helps this content to reach more people that, like you, are awakening to something bigger. And if you want to continue in this high vibration, already click on the next video that is appearing on the left side of your screen. This is where we will reveal what happens to the Pisces sign at 4:44 a.m. You have no idea what you wait for you. I find you there.